So more or less, what religion is a way of life or a set of customs and beliefs that are passed down generationally. So a religion or a way of life is typified by the people, and the people is the nations. So one to say that they're not religious is the equivalent to say that they're nationless, because all nations have a way of life, a way of being, or a set of customs and beliefs, or better said, a certain perspective of the universe or the perceptible universe. You understand? So religion is more or less where you're seeing things from. And as Moorish-Americans, we have a Moorish perspective. Now the method of acquiring knowledge is known as science, which is why we're known to attend the Moorish Science Temple of America, or an American institution based on education on the method of acquiring knowledge from a Moorish perspective or standpoint. And Moorish, being the original people, is to have the original perspective or the first perspective. That's one of the reasons why we teach that all religions are true, all right, or that we honor all the divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, because we understand that everything comes from the original, and that the original religion belongs to the original man, the original way of life, which is peace. In our native language, stated as Islam.
That makes great sense, because in your religion, it speaks of every prophet, and most religions only have one or two prophets. And being that if that religion is the original religion, of course it would have every prophet.
Right. Because all religions will stem from the one, or the original.
Is pieces of it.
That's why all nations, they stem from the original. So nowadays, now in times, we have various countries, referred to as nation states, or autonomous political political constructs exercising an amount of sovereignty over a territory. And these are countries. But all of these countries are really made up of one nation. So although, we could subscribe to being Trinidadian American or Cuban American or Puerto Rican American or Jamaican American, all these separate type of political affiliations or allegiances, but when we go back to the people and not the actual political construct, the name of the people is one, and the people haven't changed. Just the names that have been ascribed to the people have changed. So we've always been Moorish. You're born Moorish, and it's the customs, cultures, tradition, religion, language, and history of the Moorish people, which is what we're trying to reintroduce in our life, which was preserved by the Moorish Science Temple of America.
My only problem with any religion is, like, somebody like me, like I have a basis of me, what I do and what I do normally, of who I am, or how I go about doing things. But I'm constantly changing. And then when it comes to higher beings, I believe in all religions are all true, though I don't believe in a higher being or an afterlife.
Okay. Well, the belief in a higher being, is a psyche. It's psychological in nature to believe in a higher being, as opposed to knowing of, a source of power that you descend from. We're not when we look at the planet, what we see is merely a fingernail, a portion of a fingernail. You know what I'm saying? That makes up a very large body. And that being said, the gnosis of the higher self and lower self, knowing art, the difference between art and naught, knowing the difference between truth and falsehood, helps prepare our minds better for the understanding that the higher power or the higher being is actually us in man, and how to attain that is a whole separate conversation. You can't attain your own higher self if you don't have a belief in a higher self. You understand?
Like spiritual divine power within.
Right. So you limit yourself with that, and by limiting yourself and limiting your capacity or limiting your ability, you also limit the amount of resistance that you can impose upon a foreign ideology being mentally beat into your psyche that would cause you to execute natures and actions other than your own self.
See, but I feel whether I believe in it or not, I get such a good emotion, a good vibe, a good feeling from helping people and doing good things that I don't think it even matter if I believed or not, because I am of the teachings.
True. Well, I mean, and that's emotion. And now, it's like, it's fun to drive a car at first, but you may need certain skills to drive a car through certain territory or to get to point A to point B. And so, you might have a rush driving without a license, but we might require you to have a commercial license because we need to know that you're competent enough to go 15 states straight through while driving without crashing or hurting somebody or something. And that's the same thing with life. You know what I'm saying? You can have fun just helping people and doing things, and those things that make us, better citizens, better people, better Moors. And yet, if we want to be the best that we can be, we need to exercise the scientific method in order to find out first what it is that we can do to be better. You know what I'm saying? And then after we know what it is that we can do, learn how to do it or rather maximize the efficiency of said actions executed, and then how to apply it best, not just for ourselves, but for the people around us in our community. Like me getting into my higher self, knowing that I have a higher self, and differentiating between a higher and a lower self will be able to have me see an action that I could execute and say, well, even though my intention is good, it's in my lower self. And so that's going to mess up the entire equation, as opposed to me seeing action and wait, hold on, let me do this in my higher self because I'm conscious of it. Now my intent is pure and my actions are pure. And purity means God. God means ruler of the land. That's how I'm able to tap into my higher power, into my God, and then me being God and executing that God capacity, I'm able to rule over my land. That is, to have the absolute authority over my circumference, over my circumstances. A good example would be, like I'm always out here in the streets, I'm always trying to speak to people or whatever. If I didn't know the difference between my higher self and lower self, I would just speak to all the sisters and be like, here, look, put your name and number, boom. But I don't just, speak to the sisters that, are of a certain age range or of a certain, a certain physical capacity. I teach the whole human family of the planet Earth. If a Dauphin European lady was, trying to say, what is that fez about? And I want to know more. And I definitely give them the clipboard, because my higher self, knowing that the higher self breeds justice, mercy, love, and right, is going to say, you know what? True 5% to teach all the human family of the planet Earth. I am part of the poor part of the 5%. Let me do what my higher self states I should do and dictate, and that which is in my nature to be, which is peace, is going to be expressed in that form or in that format, as opposed to me not knowing the difference between my higher and lower self, and I'm just like, yo, boom, take this down, and I think I'm doing the right thing, but I'm really not. You know what I'm saying?
So in other words, tap into your higher self and your lower self, combine them. You got the God in you, as I have it in me, has it in him. This is another AIT program production.
Peace.